Sport is superstition, science, family, drama, love, theatre. It's everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for sports fans that's better. Gamble responsibly.
It's buzzer beaters time, and someone who knows how to shoot, two-time NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer. Welcome to the show, Carlos. Great to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Firstly, I'm going to ask you, the change of coach at Brooklyn, is that going to help our Aussie Ben Simmons?
Yeah, hopefully it does. I mean, he's been such a great player for the Philadelphia 76ers, was a two-time All-Star there. Struggled a little bit in the last playoffs that he played in and hasn't quite got back to that same caliber of player. But if the Brooklyn Nets are going to compete and have a chance to go to the championship, to the finals, it's going to be because Ben Simmons has stepped his game up. So hopefully a change of coach, change of the voice that he's hearing can give him some more confidence.
I love it. That's great. I mean, here's hoping, Carlos, I reckon. But we've got a couple of your old teams, your former teams, playing in huge games this weekend. Let's start with Chicago. They've had a weird, scrappy start to this season, Carlos. Can they lift against Boston on Saturday? How are you feeling about the Bulls at the moment?
Yeah, the Bulls, I mean, they're a little banged up. You know, their star point guard, Lonzo Ball, is banged up with the knee, so he hasn't played this season quite yet. But they had a big win last night against the Brooklyn Nets. And they got two terrific wings in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, good inside player in Vucevic. So they can definitely compete with Boston. But remember, let's not forget, Boston's a team that was in the NBA Finals last year, was 2 games away from winning a championship against the Warriors. So, you know, Jason Tatum's probably one of the top 5, top 10 players in the league. Jaylen Brown's very good. Going up against a very experienced Boston team should be a good game.
Now, our man Jaymz was a bit worried about the Celtics. What have you made of their up and down year so far?
Well, they had a little news in the offseason about their coach. Had to let Ime Udoka go as he had kind of an inappropriate relationship there in the front office. But, you know, they've hired a new coach. They're moving forward. They're a team that is built for the playoffs. They went through the Eastern Conference last year, beating Brooklyn, beating Miami, beating Milwaukee, and got to the finals and ended up losing to the Warriors. But they have a star player in Jason Tatum, who's a stud. Jaylen Brown is also a terrific basketball player, and they got a bunch of great players around them that complement those two stars really well. So they may have a bit of a slow start. We've seen slow starts from the Warriors, the Lakers, obviously Brooklyn, and some other teams, but definitely expect Boston to be right there at the end when it counts the most.
I love it. Another team that I absolutely love at the moment, Carlos, your very first team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. How are you feeling about the Cavs at the moment? Donovan Mitchell there, Evan Mobley. What do you think about them in this Eastern Conference at the moment?
Man, what a great pickup to get Donovan Mitchell over the summer. Just a superstar of a player. He'll be an all-star again this year in the Eastern Conference. And now they get Darius Garland coming back tonight off an injury. He's a phenomenal all-star type of point guard. And with the size that they have with Mobley and Allen, they're a team that's going to be a tough outcome playoff time. So I like what Cleveland did in the offseason. I think they have a bunch of studs on that team. And also look at Kevin Love's numbers in the first 5 games of the season. He's shooting lights out as a stretch power forward for them. So good to see that team playing well.
I love it. They're like one of the smokies going into this preseason, and now they might actually just be a contender. 2 other teams. 2 of your other former teams are going head-to-head this weekend. I absolutely love this. You've got the Utah Jazz, one of the surprise packets of the season, and the LA Lakers, another surprise packet, but for completely different reasons. Carlos, has the form of these 2 teams surprised you? How are you feeling about your old Jazz and your old Lakers team?
Yeah, I think before the season started, we would all have them flip-flop, right? We think the Lakers would be doing great, having a great season, and the Utah Jazz would be doing so-so. But it's been the exact opposite this year. You know, the Utah Jazz trade their 2 stars, Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland, Rudy Gobert goes to Minnesota, and somehow they got a bunch of hungry players that are just playing really hard for the Utah Jazz, led by Markkanen, who's doing a great job of leading them in scoring. They got Sexton from Cleveland in that deal with Donovan Mitchell, and he's just a great, tough player. And they got Jordan Clarkson, obviously, who's flashy and a hell of a scorer. And that Utah Jazz team is really full of hungry guys that want to compete, and they're playing like they have something to prove. You flip the script on the other side with the LA Lakers. You know, they got LeBron James, one of the best players of all time. They got Anthony Davis, one of the most talented players of this generation. And they got Russell Westbrook, obviously trying to figure out his role amongst it all. So new head coach in Darvin Ham. They're struggling. You know, they're trying to scrape away wins in the Western Conference. they're going to have a bit of a hard time. But if they can figure out how to play together, they still have a lot of talent on that team. Maybe they make a trade or two here throughout the course of the season. But both those two teams, I think, are in opposite spots if we would have predicted it before the season.
Okay, Carlos, this is why we've got you on the show. When I asked for a big call from my co-host, his head disappears in his jacket, right? So you're on the spot here. Who's your early tip for the championship and the MVP?
Yeah, I think for me, early pick, I'm a huge Warriors fan. I love the way that they play. I think they're a terrific basketball team and will have a chance to come out the West. But my early pick is the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they got the best player in the game in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just a dominant force on offense, dominant force on defense. They got great players around him. Drew Holiday hit a big shot the other day to hold off, I can't remember what team it was, wherever they were playing. Did a great step back. Oh, the Detroit Pistons. And then they got Chris Middleton, who's still hurt, but the Milwaukee Bucks are undefeated, haven't lost a game. I got them cutting the nets down and winning the championship this year. And my early MVP, if Giannis doesn't win it again, which he could probably win it almost every year, it would be Luka Doncic. His numbers in Dallas are just off the charts. I think he's averaging like 36 plus points a game, 8-9 assists, 8-9 rebounds, and really carrying that Dallas Mavericks team like he has done since he got to Dallas. But he's just putting up phenomenal numbers. So my early pick, Milwaukee Bucks for the championship, Luka Doncic for the MVP.
Absolutely love your work. Some big calls there, Carlos. You are a two-timer for every reason possible. Thanks very much for joining us on the show, and we'll hope to have you back soon.
My pleasure.
There you have it. That was Buzzer Beaters.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.